In Monster Hunter Wilds, you can farm super efficient and farm tons and tons of materials for free without even having to go out and farm yourself. And basically automatically farm a lot of this stuff. I'm going to show you all the cool farming tricks in Monster Hunter Wilds. So the first tip is going to be obviously to use your crafting list. For instance, in our crafting list, we currently have, as an example, mega potions as a normal crafted item. We like using at least mega potions versus regular potions because they're just way better. They heal you way more, but it's good to have auto potions crafted because that means every time you collect herbs, you can make potions. And then with honey, you can also turn those into mega potions. If you have auto craft on for both of these items, that means not only in your stash are these mega potions just going to stock up, but you can actually stock them up while you're running around just normally playing without having to stop off back at your tent. We actually look at our item pouch, we're carrying both herbs and honey maxed out, as well as potions and mega potions. When we run out of our mega potions or use a couple of them, then we have potions here with herbs already in our inventory. Now, since we have regular potions and honey already in our inventory, that's going to replenish our mega potions right off the bat to keep us stocked up on mega potions without having to go back to the tent, take all that time, etc. What that's going to do is use our herbs to replenish our regular potions, meaning we are able to carry 20 mega potions this way, meaning we can make like 30 of these mega potions running around the map. And you can do that with a lot of things such as pods, for instance, antidotes, energy drinks, cool drinks, and hot drinks, and a bunch of other things. For instance, again, we have our pods here, meaning we can just automatically replenish our pods, and even things like shock traps and trank bombs, meaning when we're out in the field, we can actually auto craft a lot of this stuff. If you're not actually farming it in your actual item box as well, you can set that stuff to auto craft too, so that way you can come in here, grab it, and you never have to worry about manually crafting. Take the time and make sure you get everything the way you want it to auto craft. Will save you a lot of time down the road. So to take all the ordinary material farming out of this game, for the very simple things that you need a lot of, best use your material retrieval vendors. Now there's actually 5 of these that you can get and unlock pretty easy. They unlock after chapter 4. And as you can see, the cool part is you can go to Nada at any one of your villages, simply speak with them, and then go into material retrieval. And all you have to do is you can collect tons of materials from those vendors right here. Now the cool thing is you can actually set them up, so you can see just from playing a little bit, this vendor has gotten me basically 30 honey and a ton of other materials, and that right there should be probably the amount of honey I need for a long bit of playing. Now each one of these vendors you can select different materials from, so I wouldn't necessarily select honey or something like that for all of them. I would definitely spread it out. For instance, this vendor is great at doing things like honey, bitterbug broth, which is good for some medicines, and then other things like parashrooms, which are actually really good for trank bombs. I have a bunch of these set to honey, so I'm going to put this one on parashrooms so I can start getting more of those. Keep in mind when setting a vendor, the stars is how much materials they can basically get. So Murderback, setting him to herbs, essentially got me a decent amount of herbs, but it's not near as efficient as selecting like Sabar, for instance, and having him gather nitro shrooms for gunpowder. This way you can spread out the stuff that you're auto farming for and cover practically all of the important things in the game. Now the way to unlock all of these vendors super quick, again, once you get to chapter 4 of the story, you should be able to start unlocking most all of these. Within Windward Plains, if you actually go to the Kunafa village, the material retrieval vendor right there is going to be just outside the city. And keep in mind, all you have to do is complete their quest after chapter 4 and they should unlock. Next, there would be one in Scarlet Forest. And this would actually be Plum Peach over here at the Woodwood hideout. Simply right in here, again, do that quest and unlock them super easy. Next, in the Oil Well Basin, here we actually have Sabar. He is actually right outside of the Everforge. And one of the things he specializes in is nitro shrooms and bomb berries. So if you're looking for explosives, this is the guy. We also have Suja. Here, once you reach chapter 4, if you run up this hill, a Par will be located right up here at the top. Par actually specializes in some cool stuff. Mandragora, so you can craft immunizers and max potions. Snow herbs, so you can do things like freeze ammo, and even spider webs that are going to help you create pitfall traps, again for hunting monsters. And then in the Ruins of Wyveria, if you simply teleport to the Keeper's Vigil and walk right up this path, you can see Reicher is sitting right here. And next is a simple trick, but you want to make sure you're still doing this pretty consistently, because what you don't get now, you will eventually need to get later. And this is going to be when either on foot or riding on your sacred. You can see that there's some items over there on the left hand side. What's cool is it actually allows you to grab the item without actually even having to look at it. You see, if we hold our focus button, hit down on the D-pad, and then simply go up and have the choice to grab every single item that we can see on our screen by simply just using the menu on our left. This makes grabbing things like honey and things that you're going to need often that you happen to pass super easy. Now, if you're farming for any specific materials, whether that be pods or any other crafting material, let's just use honey again as an example, but it could be anything. You want to make sure you're taking advantage of the map legend down in the bottom left-hand corner. If you actually hit the D-pad over, it'll let you start to then filter, and you can actually filter through different teleport areas that you have in the area. You can also filter by specific icons, meaning you can specify if you want endemic life or if you want small monsters or even gathering materials. That way you can sort through these 4 different areas and see where exactly you need to go to pick up some of these. And one of the cool things about this is you can actually hit square on the mini map and apply that filter to the mini map, and now it will actually only show you those specific gatherables, meaning you don't have to see all of the other fluff on the map. But again, another cool thing, because we're all about automating our farming here, is if we find, let's say, the antidote herb, we can actually just hit R3 to set a waypoint and set our sacred to auto move. We can lay back and relax, and he's going to take us right to exactly what we need to go to, meaning that makes farming these materials just that much easier. And you can see with our auto craft, we instantly turn that into an antidote potion, meaning we can stack up on them very quick. But when you're crafting weapons and armor of any type, your monster field guide is literally the most valuable thing ever. For an example, let's just take something like this sword. You can see it needs a hide of a cumatrice, and it actually needs 6 of them. For spoiler's sake, I will block everything else out, but ideally for the cumatrice here, this is why you have to use the guide, otherwise you'll farm for hours and waste tons of time and energy not getting what you want. You can see it not only shows the weak points on the body, which is going to help to fight it, as well as its different weaknesses. One of the big most important things is it's going to show you the actual kind of drop rates for the specific things. For instance, you can see the cumatrice hide here has a frequency of 3 stars or the drop rate. You can see the high rank materials here as well. But let's say we were looking for a wyvern gem down at the bottom, because things like the crest, which is on the head, and the wyvern gem, which is on the tail, is going to require you to sever or break those individual parts on the monster in order to have the best chance really of dropping it. So before you farm any pieces for any gear like this, specifically monster tailored pieces, come in here and make sure of what you need, because you could be wasting a ton of time and not targeting and breaking specific parts. One thing to keep in mind is in Windward Plains, you'll have Santiago here with the support ship. Sometimes you probably do want to give him a visit, because if you're like me, you never stop by this guy. But he basically has some really cool buffs for you that you can use in a ton of fights, as well as other materials for all kinds of crafting. You can actually specifically request specific goods from him. If you just want equipment materials, the next shipments, he'll bring just those materials, or medicinal items or miscellaneous, etc. But ideally you can just select one of these if you don't have to worry about healing or anything else, and just get materials from him, and maybe he'll have something that you actually need so you don't have to spend the time to go farm it. If you're a higher hunter level, you may already do this, but this is something I wish I'd done much earlier. Once you go and talk to Alma, essentially you can jump in and join a quest, but you can do anything like assignments or optional quests. But ideally, one of the big things here, even better than looking at your lobby member quests, is if you know exactly what you're trying to farm, just come down to SOS Flare requests. This is basically all I run anymore. Again, there's spoilers, so I won't show you this target section, but you can select it and select any monster you want, period. So if you know what monster you're going to farm, just put them in here. We'll just select the Deshagama, and then you can actually select low rank, or you can select high rank depending on the one you want. And if you look in here, there will always be a ton of basically all of these monsters. And here you can actually just join in with people that have already started these, so you don't have to worry about looking to find it, going to start it somewhere, and you can just always search straight to the monster you need. I would also recommend looking at the bonus rewards. You can see some of these are just the kind of main fight itself, but some of these offer you bonus rewards such as different gems and different materials, etc. So that way you can maybe even get some things that are extra. Also, you could look at the started time. If you want to join in towards the end, you can find like this one that has 5 minutes, or this one that started 5 minutes ago, and join in right close to when they're getting close to finishing the fight, and it should make it a little bit easier to farm out some of those materials, maybe some specific materials, or just completion if you're trying to do it pretty quickly. Keep in mind, again, before you start farming, you can also check out the rewards or the quests right here on the right hand side as well. Now, in terms of target farming, you should also really be doing this. If you go into your map and look at the world map here, so if we hover over each individual area here, you can see over on the right, it gives us essentially a list of different monsters and different rewards that are in each one of these areas. So if we were looking for a tempered Arcveld, we could actually hit square on this. We could come over here to tempered Arcveld, and then we could actually click on it and then hit create quest. As we know, we can get 2, 4, 5 weapon fragments. Ideally, some of these can give you many more weapon fragments. What we can actually do is then click on this, and instead of beginning it as a field survey, which is essentially just starting the normal quest, you should actually click this as save as investigation. If you find a really good monster like this with really good drops, you should click it, do save as investigation. It'll cost you some points, but you get a ton of points, so it's not really a big deal. Then once we go over here to Alma, we can essentially jump down into our investigations tab. You can see it has saved that Arcveld here. And not only that, but we have 3 of these fights left, meaning if this Arcveld had amazing drops on it, we could run it 3 or 4 times in some cases and get those insane rewards multiple times over and over and over. That way we can target farm exactly what drops we're going to be getting. You could actually target specific offensive and defensive decorations this way. So if you want to target specific gems, specific materials, and be able to farm a lot of them, investigations is going to be your best friend and allow you to save things that you might have to farm later. And whatever you do, make sure you know this right here for the end game in Monster Hunter Wilds, because it can literally change everything.